Crazy idea. What if it sinks while we are on it? We have to rescue all these people.
Steal the top piece that she just gave you. Where are you visiting from?
Bad idea.
Ah, Cape Breton, right? Every time. Alright guys, I'm gonna hand it over to Molly. Enjoy the tour.
Thank you, Jared.
It's right at the foot of Citadel Hill. Because of that, it actually is one in all of Canada. Second only to our friends over in Parliament Hill, actually, in the nation's capital. Now, the original mechanism is still in place, so we wind it up about twice a week. And that means that as we clear sight, I'd suggest we give a big wave at our friends standing guard. Feathered cap with a vulture plume on it. You could also see some soldiers' wives, pipers and drummers. And there are even a few museum exhibits. We actually get out on the water in a couple of minutes' time. But now, Jared is bringing us down from Citadel Hill. Sitting on about a 16-acre plot, so an awful lot of vegetation. It's open to the public to wander on through. Closes at just about dusk. And now we have made it onto the busiest stretch of Spring Garden Road. Spring Garden Road holds the official title as the busiest street east of St. Catherine Street in Montreal. So a great place to get some of that waving in. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great day. Hold on to your cameras. And we're gonna get ready for the big, big splash. Ready for a transformation from a land-going vehicle to a sea-going vessel. Hold on tight, folks. Jared was being nice to us. We didn't get judged. Normally everybody up at the front is wiping off water. Huh, a little bit of ocean spray, a bit of a splash for those of you up at the very front. You got a little bit wet? I got a little bit wet. Okay, who of you did? Ah, well, we have made it. Did we lose anybody off the back? No. You held on tight this time around, Jared. We didn't lose anybody this morning.
No, didn't lose anybody.
There you go. We are no longer... Incredibly handsome captain. And I am no longer just your lowly tour guide. I am now your first mate. So as your first mate, I want to officially welcome you all to the Halifax Harbour. And it is actually the second largest ice-free port in the entire world. It's second only to our friends down under in Sydney, Australia. And because of that, it's a very busy port. 365 days of the year we can catch ships coming in and out of here. And because of that, we are home to the oldest naval dockyards in all of North America and the largest naval dockyards here in Canada. So the HMCS stands for Her Majesty's Canadian Ship, and that's because these naval dockyards are home to 80% of the Canadian Navy here. You should all be able to see something that looks like a big black shark sticking out of the water just past the pier over there. Now it's not a shark, that's one of our Victoria-class submarines, the HMCS Windsor, one of the more recent purchases made by the Canadian Navy out there.
Where's the submarine? Oh, back there. Oh, I see.
The most beautiful view of our two harbor bridges that you're going to get out here, out your left-hand side.
Matt, who drives that forest farm, is on the corner brook.
These harbor bridges are one of the best ways to make it across the harbor as you're here in the city. So the one that's the furthest away is called the McKay Bridge, or the New Bridge. It was built in 1970. And the one a little bit closer is the McDonald Bridge, or the Old Bridge, built all the way back in 1955. It's named after Angus L. MacDonald, who was the premier here in Nova Scotia for a number of years. A lot of people guess that it's named after Sir John A. Macdonald, which could be true, but Angus L. With this, we've been learning quite a bit about Halifax, and I have... Well, We've already seen quite a few interesting vessels out here on the water. We're seeing a few more, such as one of our ferries making her way over on the left-hand side. But it's not just ships. Underwater pipelines that stick out beneath the buildings and act like straws. They suck up the cold harbor water, circulate it around, and this saves them in over $100,000 of air conditioning costs a year. So a very smart system for these buildings. Familiar with Cow's ice cream? It's originally from Prince Edward Island. It's been voted the best ice cream in all of Canada on quite a few occasions. It's also been voted the best ice cream in the entire world a couple of times. So it's interesting to head in there, even if you're not looking for a cone, just to read the flavors. They have some funny ones in there, like the Messy Bessie or the Wowie Cowie. See some of the patios being set up as well out here on the boardwalk. Beautiful place to grab a bite. Now the whole boardwalk, it starts back next to the ramp where we enter the water. It continues all the way down to Pier 21, which is our immigration museum, just past the farmers market here in the city. So it's just under 4 kilometers long. Pretty lengthy boardwalk, a beautiful walk. And this oddly shaped building on our right is the ferry terminal here in Halifax. There are 3 terminals on the harbour, one up in Dartmouth, one over in Woodside, another one right here in Halifax. And just next to the terminal, we can see a very good friend of mine. He is wearing a bright red cap. That is Theodore Two. And Theodore Two is based off of the television show, Theodore the Tugboat. He cruises around the harbour every day, trying to find all of his friends out here. It's just a joy to have him out here because he's the friendliest boat in the harbour. He always has a smile on his face. I don't know how he does it, but it's a treat to see him coming towards you. And now this red building we're coming up to is called Murphy's the Cable Wharf because it's where we used to store the transatlantic cables. But today it's home to Murphy's Gift Store and Murphy's Restaurant. We're driving past their patio at the moment, getting some rays from in there. Morning, ladies. Their patio was new to them this year. It's the only patio on the harbour that gives you a 180-degree view of the harbour. So a pretty great claim to fame for them. And it also has a roof on it, which is good for all of the rainy days or sunny days if you're looking for some shade as well. And then as I mentioned, so Murphy's Restaurant is all at the end here, and then Murphy's Gift Store is down at the far end of the red building. Great little souvenir shop, looking for a taste of Halifax to bring back. But we're now coming up to one of my favorite vessels out here on the harbour. It's going to be on our right-hand side. She is this white vessel out here, the wooden ship, the one with the pirate flag hoisted up nice and tall. She is the R, and the Mall has actually circumnavigated the globe on 2 separate occasions. So a pretty impressive vessel, and she does sailing cruises all around the harbour if you're looking to get out on the water again. She does pirate cruises, cocktail cruises, sunset cruises. And another white lady we're coming up to, the one with a bit of green on her bottom, she belongs to the Maritime Museum. So if you head into the museum, you can head out on her, the CSS Acadia. Take a look around. She just celebrated her 100th birthday, so a very sturdy vessel. And then we're coming up to one other white vessel with a little bit of blue on her. She's another naval ship. She is the HMCS Sackville. And the HMCS Sackville is a corvette. The corvettes were the workhorses throughout World War II. They escorted convoys and attacked submarines. And she's the last surviving one that we have, so a huge gem here on our harbour. You can also take a look around her if you're very interested. The corvettes were so quick and maneuverable in the water that we even named the car the Corvette after them. Given us a great view of the mouth of the harbour. You can see some ships coming on in there. You can see our 2 harbour islands as well. The one that's the furthest away is called McNabb's Island. There are a couple of forts on the island, a beautiful lighthouse, great beaches, and some hiking trails, essentially a provincial park. There are actually also a couple of residential homes on there, but they can't be bought or sold. The only way to own one of those homes is to inherit it through a will, because the government's hoping to own the whole island one day. But the closer island is George's Island. It's the one I mentioned up on Citadel Hill because it does have one of those signaling masts on it. And that's because there's a fort on the island. It's called Fort Charlotte, after George's wife. And Fort Charlotte is mostly a subterranean fort, so a collection of tunnels, almost entirely underground. And the island is normally closed to the public, but we do open it up from time to time. This summer it was open one weekend. The harbour worked back then and still works today like a two-way street. So the Mont Blanc was making her way in on the Dartmouth side, and the Emo was leaving on the Halifax side, and everything was going according to plan until the Emo got caught behind a tugboat. The crew decided that they wanted to pass the boat, and as they pulled out to go around it, they put themselves on a head-on collision course for the Mont Blanc. But when they threw themselves into reverse, metal on metal created sparks, and sparks flew onto the deck of the Mont Blanc. So the Mont Blanc immediately caught fire, because at 9:04 in the morning and 35 seconds, the Mont Blanc exploded. And this was the largest man-made explosion to have ever taken place, save for the dropping of the atomic bomb at Hiroshima. Played by my future husband, Leonardo DiCaprio. So other people made that connection and they were devastated. They were leaving a movie stubs next to the flowers, very distraught. We had to break it to them that Jack is just a fictional character. The J stands for James Dawson. And James Dawson was played by my future husband, Leonardo DiCaprio. And James Dawson was a very real man. He was an Irish man who shoveled coal on board the Titanic. So he had a little bit of a different role than the Jack in the movie did. But that's not our only connection to the film. If you can remember the final scene of the movie, there's an older Rose, she's tossing a jewel out into the water. That was filmed right on our harbor on one of our Coast Guard vessels. And the jewel was made just a few blocks up on Barrington Street at Robert's Jewelry Shop. It's still there today. And those are just a few of our connections to the Titanic and also to the film The Titanic. Jean Chrétien was our Prime Minister. Bill Clinton was up for the United States. So Secret Service was in full swing. They had stationed snipers on the roofs of the surrounding buildings. They had removed mailboxes or nailed them shut. Security was tight. Now on the final day of the summit, everyone wanted to take a picture together. What better way to commemorate the occasion? So at lunchtime, they gathered around the front steps of the building. They picked their teeth clean, got ready to say cheese, and boom! Off went our noon gun. So Bill Clinton ducked and was thrown into a limousine. He was about halfway to Peggy's Cove before he had any idea what was going on. Jean Chrétien had been here before. He knew all about our tradition, just hadn't been passed along. So he was left a little bit red-faced, all alone on those front steps. And needless to say, we have not been asked to host another economic summit here since. But